All right. Welcome back. Delighted to say Lee Bullen with us for the second half, which lasts longer than the first half. It's about 20-25 minutes. Carvalhal, is that okay?
Better.
Better, still not
You're
there.
doing better, almost there.
Carlos Carvalhal.
Carvalhal.
Carval.
I love the combination of sort of Portuguese and Scotch. It's great. I love it. It's a great accent.
Yeah, well, I don't know what I am. I'm
I was just about to say Yorkshire.
I'm halfway. I'm somewhere in the middle, having been born in Kent and lived most of my life in Yorkshire. I think I'm pushing up towards Nottingham now. I think so. Somewhere around there. James Gregg, Sheffielder, native of Sheffield. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Born and bred. Yeah.
Born and
Drink
bred.
Henderson's neat.
And he balances out slightly. It's an all-owl show. I won't apologise because last week's was nearly all a Blade show, and there'll be some Blade shows coming up. For instance, Nick Cox is coming back. Jamie Hoyland will be here for one of those. People have already booked. So, you know, we that's the party political over. We do balance things out. James, it's more than just football. There's loads going on.
It is 4 sports to touch on today. We've got football, hockey, basketball and golf all to talk about for the next 5 minutes or so. We'll start with football. 5-star showing for the Blades on Tuesday night in the Johnston Paints Trophy, beat Notts County 5-1. Good confidence boost ahead of Saturday's fixture when they welcome Rochdale to Bramall Lane. Of course, a week off for Sheffield Wednesday with the international break. Their next game is against Hull a week on Saturday. It's non-league day as well, talking football. Hallam second in the league after a 5-1 win last night, and they welcome Hemsworth to Sandygate on Saturday. Sheffield FC, they welcome Loughborough Dynamo. So we're spoiled in this area, yes. And you wrote about this in your column, didn't you,
I
Alan?
did, and I think people should, let's bring Lee on this. And by the way, Ryan would want us to say that Hallam went a goal down and still won 5-1, and it was his first anniversary as manager at Hallam. Yeah, non-league football day. There's a lot of good stuff. I've seen Sheffield and Hallam quite recently. There's a lot of good football played.
That's fantastic. I just heard, I think it was the chairman of Hallam on the radio on the way in to meet you guys, and he mentioned that season ticket holders at the Lane or at Hillsborough will get in for free up at Hallam on Saturday if they show their season ticket. So it's fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Why not? Go along, support your local teams, and I think Ryan's done a magnificent job since he's gone in there.
It strikes me, you know, and you may not wish to sort of get involved in this, but when I see a game at that level, it's far more competitive and I think meaningful than probably academy games are. Yeah. And that's a problem in the whole of football at the moment, the void, not having that tough reserve team environment. Is that a problem?
I think 100% of football coaches would agree with you. In the professional game, bring back reserve football, because I think at under 21 level it's a bit like cotton wool football a little bit. You need to get that kick from that 36-year-old senior pro, welcome to football type of thing, and maybe going out to places in the non-league would certainly toughen up some of these kids.
Okay, well, we might return to that. James, sorry to interrupt.
No, good subject to talk about. Yeah. And, you know, Sandygate and at the Coach and Horses ground in Dronfield, we're spoilt in this area with non-league teams. So please get yourselves down there and support those. As we said, very competitive football indeed. It's the biggest game in English ice hockey on Saturday. The Sheffield Steelers, of course, the Elite League champions last season, welcome the rivals Nottingham Panthers to the arena.
You
7
can say
o'clock.
That again. Rivals is hated enemies.
It's probably more so than Sheffield United versus Sheffield Wednesday, and it actually is. Some of the battles that you see in that fixture over the years, fantastic stuff. Paul Thompson, Dave Sims, friends of this show, talked about that. They love it, don't they? They love talking about that.
They certainly do. And Simsy wrote a brilliantly entertaining column in the Sheffield Telegraph this week about what that fixture means, and in his words, how Paul Thompson, the new coach, gets it. He bought into this kind of feeling. Because Dave Sims here, I said, what is it with you two, Sheffield and I? He said, it's quite simple, really. We hate each other. Yeah, he meant it, didn't he?
He did mean it, yeah. There was certainly no love lost.
But like, well, Rangers and Celtic.
That is hate. Yeah, you're 100% right. But I'm sure there's not the same religious connotations with regards to Sheffield. Which is good, which is a positive thing.
It is, yeah. Well, that's there, 7 o'clock, the Sheffield Arena on Saturday. Thoroughly entertaining Saturday night entertainment if you want to go down there, perhaps from a non-league football game. That would be a nice Saturday of sport, wouldn't it? Basketball, the Sheffield Sharks season is underway. It started with 2 defeats, but they've not got another league game for 3 weeks now. But in the meantime, they'll be playing Manchester Giants in the British Basketball League Cup before they get back into the league action. And we'll finish things off with golf. It's the British Masters at Woburn this week. 2 Sheffielders in action. Danny Willett has shot 2 under par in his opening round, and Matthew Fitzpatrick is the standalone leader after a magnificent round of 64 for 7 under par. Let's hope he can break through with his maiden European Tour victory this weekend. That's all, Alan.
That's all, is it?
That's
okay,
everything,
James.
yeah.
We'll carry on with this, and you may have your 10 pence to chip in over here. What are you going to do this weekend then, Lee? It's non-league day, and you haven't got a game. Lower league games. Where are you going to go?
You put me under pressure now. Now, when you're away every weekend to play football, and you've got a good lady at home that's dealing with 1-year-old twins, quite often. In fact, that's 100% right. She'll pick up 2 babies, hand them to me, and walk out the door and get a few hours to herself. So, where I could end up, I really don't know. I might end up at Hallam with 2 babies on my own.
Why not? Because it would be more difficult to take them to a league game, wouldn't it? And
Absolutely.
So you could have them in the. You got the double buggy, have you?
Absolutely, double buggied up and everything.
So
like that.
watch out for the Bullen double buggy at Sandygate Road,
Why
possibly.
Not? Start them young, yeah.
Yeah, but it's quite an honest answer, because football is so intensive, so full on. You have to take a break somewhere.
You do, and people forget the other side of it. Like, listen, it's a fantastic job. Nobody's going to knock that, whether you're a player or a coach or anything like that. But your close family do suffer sometimes. The amount of time you spend away, or the hours you spend in the office, and then going to watch games in the evenings, or travelling away overnight to games, and it's relentless. It's Saturday, Tuesday. We've touched on it already. Saturday, Tuesday type of thing. So, when you get the opportunity to give your better half a little bit of a break, a couple of hours here and there, sometimes it's forced on you.
So and so you should. And Carlos has gone back to his family in Portugal for the weekend. It's my oldest daughter's birthday this weekend. I haven't got a game to go to work, so I can earn some brownie points by saying, well, actually, no, I'm not going to work this weekend. I'll spend the weekend with you. So,
I'll take credit for that idea.
Yeah, you do. You said that's the way I should play it. That's the way I should play it. I can quite safely say, because Mrs. Biggs has got far better taste, she does not watch this programme. Okay. Let's return to Sheffield Wednesday and the start that you've made. You've raised expectations now. There's a level of performance that's expected. Are the players really aware of that? Is that a message that you've had to strike home? Or?
I think when the new chairman came in and there was mention of the money, then expectations rose. Then there was a quiet summer period at one point, so expectations were diluted. And then suddenly 14, 15 signings were made and the expectations go through the roof again. Then you get up and down performances, so it's diluted. And now 4 in the bounce, suddenly we're going for it again. So, but it's great. It's great.
It's very exciting. Those signings came in a rush after there'd been loads of criticism. What's going on? Nothing's going on. All that kind of thing. And we've been assured that plenty was going on. There was Did you expect 15?
No, definitely didn't, and not to the quality of player that's been brought in. I didn't know the individual foreign players until the names came out. But obviously, to get people like on top of your lads that were here last year, like Forestieri and McGugan in the door, your Bannons, your Wallaces, and these are guys with proper experience. Some of these guys have been promoted out of the Championship into the Premier League, and that's the experience that I think we needed.
And Daniel Pudil is an excellent left back.
Fabulous. Even Royce Wiggins has come in again. Also signed as a left back, but he was in the Football League of the Team of the Year a couple of seasons ago with Charlton. So we're recruiting really well on top of the lads that have been part of the squad for the last couple of seasons.
And the only niggle that people in the media like me have raised is, of all the signings, there's not been a striker. You know, the one that's been most talked about, and yet you're scoring goals. Yeah.
No, we are scoring. There's only one game this season we've been held to a clean sheet, and that was Bolton away, and we should have scored 3 or 4 in the first half. Typically, we're holding on at the end, as the typical Sheffield Wednesday way. But yeah, people will say that's the final piece in the jigsaw that we need to get, but there's no point bringing somebody in for the sake of it. I think it's important that we get the right one in that's going to add to the squad, not just for the sake of bringing a striker in.
And in the meantime, Atienu, who is manfully...
As I say, there's a relationship building there with Ati and Fernando, with Lucas playing a big part whether he's starting or coming off the bench. And on top of that, I think Sergi Bush did well when he came on against Newcastle as well. And in the background, you've still got Lavery and people like that.
Yeah, and Fernando Forestieri is clearly a quality player, but needing to build up his match fitness because he didn't quite look sharp in that last game.
Yeah, I mean, he had been out for a game because he had tweaked his hamstring 2 games prior to that, and he looked as if he was still short of match pace. I think he improved as the game went on, don't get me wrong, but I think in the first half he was very subdued and not the bright player that we've seen in the first few games. I thought he was outstanding against Burnley in the away game when we lost 3-1. It's probably the best performance we've had, and we come away getting beat 3-1. But
still produced that piece of quality that unlocked the game, though, didn't he? Last weekend.
No, fantastic little flick round the corner for Kieran Lee to go and put it in. That's what he's capable of. But again, McGugan's like that as well. He can have a quiet game at one point and then suddenly pick out a wonder pass or chip the goalkeeper from the halfway line. We've got players like that that can really be game changers.
Yeah, so if the performance dips a little bit, it's not quite at the level you want. You've still got match winning.
We've got a player that can do something to really lift it.
Yeah. Tom Lees, very consistent. He's played a lot of games actually for his age, 24. It seems that he's really lifted his game since leaving Leeds. On Twitter, I have people saying good Leeds fans following me saying good riddance when.
I got the same. Sometimes a team's a fit. Listen, Tom was fantastic initially, and as a young kid coming through at Leeds and played really well, but ultimately, if things aren't going right, every club seems to have a scapegoat of some sort, and unfortunately it seemed to be Tom in his latter spell at Leeds. He's come in, clean slate with us, really settled in, started well, and that's important at any new football club, started well, and now he's almost one of the first names on the team sheet for the coach, you would think. And credit to the lad as well, because he could have quite easily jumped ship and headed for more money to Fulham when they were biting around his ankles earlier in the season, and credit to the coach and the chairman for knocking that back as well.
That was a big statement.
Yeah.
And you know, when transfer rumours like that break into the press, and you see a rejected bid, and you always, my suspicion is always that the club that the player is playing for is privately hawking him around. When I see that come out, and I did wonder at the time. I thought, is that a starter for 10? But no.
Don't get me wrong though.
They said, didn't they?
It's setting out sort of good messages, because when other clubs are interested in your players, you must be doing something right. Westwood was tipped to go here, there and everywhere for 3 to 5 million at one point. They were talking Liverpool, Everton, Sunderland. Not Sunderland, he came from Sunderland. And then obviously Tom Lees flipped about. The next one will be Joe Wildsmith.
Yes. Do you know, that brings me on to one of the points that was going to be raised. How good is he?
Nah, he's different class. He's got a big chance. The biggest problem Joe's got is he's got Kieran Westwood in the squad with him. In my opinion, Kieran's the best goalkeeper in the league, and he proved that last year, and it was rightly so. Joe, I think, has learned so much in training. Andy Rhodes has been fantastic with him. Obviously, we brought Lewis Price in as good experienced cover initially in number 2, but slowly but surely Joe's certainly come out of shell as a youngster, really proved his worth. Magnificent in the games he's played for the first team, and was magnificent for England yesterday in the under-20s against Holland.
Was he? He had a really good game, did he?
Can I ask, there's lots of good goalkeepers. Sheffield Wednesday have always had, seem to have had good goalkeepers from looking outside in. Cameron Dawson, he's obviously a squad member at Wednesday. He must be so far down the pecking order, and he's capped at junior level as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he was at under 20 level last year, where Joe was at under 19 level. Cammy's not down the pecking order. All it takes is 1 or 2 injuries. He's back up. At the moment, he's 4th choice. But he again has taken his, from the beginning of this season compared to the back end of last season, he's taken his overall performances within training and his whole levels up another notch as well. I think those 4 goalkeepers are pushing each other up. I mean, Stuart Gray went on about it last year that having Kirkland there really pushed Westwood to really big heights. I think working with Westwood, obviously they've got a fantastic goalkeeping coach there, then they're pushing each other, these 4 goalkeepers, and they're really blessed to have 2 young goalkeepers like that sort of 19, 20-year-old sort of age group, to push your Lewis Price and to push your Kieran Westwood, because now Carlos has no problems, should Kieran maybe take an injury, a suspension, get sent off, whatever, he's got no problems looking to Lewis Price, one, or either of the 2 young goalkeepers. He really has that much confidence.
I suppose you never know until they're actually in, and he's had the opportunity, and he's shown he's got the temperament as well as the talent. Absolutely. But it is on an eye first, because you see a lot of Sheffield United. George Long, came in with this great reputation, clearly a lot of raw ability. and for whatever reason, it's kind of gone wrong for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, from watching him, Mark Howard came in and had a good run. He had 6 clean sheets, I think, and that's what kept George out the side. George then came back in. I think it was for a cup game, a League Cup game, something like that. Made a couple of mistakes. Confidence gets down a bit. He's still a good goalkeeper. He's not got any worse. He had a great loan spell at Motherwell. I think that's done him a world of good. And on Tuesday night, he didn't look. He was obviously nervous. He was desperate to try and prove himself. He came out a couple of times. It didn't cost anything. He didn't concede a soft goal or anything like that.
He'd have needed that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Because he started with that 4-0 at Colchester, which wasn't his fault, really.
Absolutely
the whole
not.
team played badly there, you know.
No, I think knowing a lot of people, obviously over the border up the road, they were raving about him up in Scotland. They thought he had a fantastic spell, like you touched on at Motherwell, and he came back down, and I think it was a straight fight between the two of them to see who was going to get the jersey initially, and George got it. Okay, yeah, results went against him, but that's the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, as a goalkeeper, you make a mistake, you're 99 times out of 100 you're going to get punished, and the ball's going to end up in the back of the net. If you're a striker, you make a mistake, then you can slowly get away with it a little bit more.
It's devastating for confidence,
especially as a younger goalkeeper as well.
I think as well, a lot of fans they see a goalkeeping mistake, which might not have just been a goalkeeping mistake. It might have come from a defensive error.
2 or 3 errors before that.
Before that, that's caused it to get to that point.
No.
And a lot of fans fail to see that, and sometimes fickle fans in Sheffield can get on top of a goalkeeper like that, like George.
Yeah. Absolutely. How much do you have to do with goalkeepers? Because although it's not your specialist position, you have played in goal, as we all know, and certainly that book will, No Bull, which he's not talking any ball tonight either. You've played in goal, you played in every position on the field, so that must help you as a coach. How involved do you get with every position?
No, I don't. I've got nothing to do with the goalkeepers in any way. That's Andy Rhodes' bag, and he'll make those decisions on that. I loved my spell playing here, there and everywhere, but it was a master of all trades, jack of all trades, master of none, sorry. It's one of these that I'll do a little bits and pieces after training with 1 or 2 of the defenders and things like that, whether it's just basic heading. Sometimes the basics is the hardest thing to keep going. There's all these highfalutin different drills and coaching sessions and small-sided games and tactical way, but sometimes just being able to head it and kick it properly is the right thing to do as a defender. Now we're lucky enough to have a different quality defender now who can actually take a ball and control it and actually make a wonderful pass instead of booting it into Rosetta, like I used to do. So
you underplay yourself. We talked about the strengths of Sheffield Wednesday with this big squad now, and great ability. Is there anything in particular, not so much a weakness, but anything that you really think as a group that you can work on, as a team that you really need to work on?
No, I think it all comes down to results, and it's just slowly but surely building a belief amongst the squad that we can challenge you touched on Middlesbroughs and your Burnleys, your next 2 games, Hull and QPR. They're going to be real pointers to us. I don't think we should have any fear against any of these teams, because I think we've proved it. I touched on it. Our best performance of the season was against Burnley. We should have been out of sight. We end up losing the game 3-1, and that's where experience in this league comes in, and they had that and they proved that. So they punished us when they got their opportunities. Now it'll be the same if we're not on our game against Hull and QPR, because they've got experienced boys who've been there, seen it, done it. But I'm so looking forward to these next 2 games. They'll be fantastic. Forget the Arsenal game in between. That's just a great occasion for the supporters and the players to get involved in. But these 2 games are great for a coach to really see what level are we at now after the confidence of those 3 league victories.
It strikes me the standard is just going through the roof in the Championship.
It has, absolutely. Now, I think the United fans are giving their team a hard time at the moment, because I think League One is possibly the poorest it's been in a long, long time.
Right.
Because I don't think there's a Bristol City, I don't think there's an MK Dons, I don't think there's a Preston in that league this year. They've all joined us on top of the 3 teams coming down the way, and then you look at some of the teams that are in the league. It's a fabulous league, the Championship, to be involved in, but it's all down to consistency and confidence with regards to the way we're going. But I think the Championship's almost the toughest it's been in a long, long time. Add on top of that next year the mega bucks join into the parachute payments from the Premier League. It's just only going to get tougher.
Look at what clubs are paying for players. Burnley, £9 million.
Bristol City, they just come out League One. They offered $9 million for Andre Gray. Ends up going $9 million to Burnley. I mean, reportedly Middlesbrough had offered $15 million for Jordan Rhodes. That doesn't happen in the Championship. No. Come on.
Yeah,
but still Blackburn knocked it back though.
I think it did, because I had sources at Middlesbrough at the time that was happening. They said that the Blackburn kept moving the goalposts.
That wasn't a case of $5 million now, $5 million. I think that was almost whacked all down, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
That's a big decision to knock that back.
It is. Yeah. And Sheffield Wednesday is, well, you won't know, well, we don't know the exact figures, but something around £10 million, I think, has been spent in fees on players. Looking around, it's a time of change in management. We saw Steve Evans go from Rotherham. We don't know, but Dean Smith he's doing very well at Walsall, isn't he? And
the next Wednesday man, he's done fantastic. I think they're lying second in the league at the moment, and you wouldn't have tipped Walsall to be up there, but it just proves. Get a little bit of consistency, somebody who knows the league inside out and knows the players, you can put something together, and he's done that. He's slowly but surely stepped up. I mean, Rob Page is doing a great job at Port Vale, another local lad from the red and white half as well, but these guys, they're building reputations for themselves.
Yeah, Neil Redfern is favoured or fancied by the bookies for Rotherham. It's logical. You must admire the great work, having worked in an academy.
Cross swords with them, obviously, at under 21s when we played Leeds up there, and then obviously he got his break up at Leeds, and again, was he harshly disposed of at Leeds? I think the majority of people would say yes. So fully deserves his opportunity because I thought he did a great job at Leeds. He steadied the ship there, really got them consistent, and
just waiting for a management job, really. And it looks like he'll get one of the two, Doncaster or. Lee Clark actually is the bookie's favourite for Rotherham. I've got my doubts about it.
For Rotherham or Doncaster?
For Doncaster.
All right.
I've got my doubts after his previous two jobs, but
absolutely.
Darren Ferguson.
I think the thing is,
Darren Ferguson, better bet, you know. That record.
I think the thing is with Neil as well. He's got his assistant Tomo, and he's a great assistant. Steve Thompson. Yeah. He was influential because I know Cellino, there was some problems with the contract, or there was something where he wasn't allowed to assist Neil at first. He then came in and they had a great run, and then as soon as they sacked Steve, they started to drop off again. I think that he's actually a very important assistant to.
But Steve is now at Preston. At the moment, so whether or not he'd just leave there, I don't know if he'd be an understanding if Neil got a job and move on. I don't know.
He'll have a good job at Preston.
I think Preston's a fabulous football club.
It's food for thought, anyway, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. But I'm thinking he might be locked into that. But it is a good shout. And also Stephen Presley, who you work with up in Scotland there at Falkirk, he's back in at Fleetwood. That's a great job for him, isn't it?
My big mate's back involved. I think again. Did he deserve to go at Coventry? Because I thought I mean, he was a firefighter there when he went in. Did a fabulous job initially with a, minus 12 points deduction.
Playing at Northampton.
Playing at Northampton, trying to be the pacifier between fans and board. And I think it's brilliant. I think he's been very close to getting another couple of jobs that were up and about the back end of last season. But the Fleetwood one's a great one. And listen, he's got a wealthy backer, whether or not they're trying to pull the purse strings in a little bit. Graham Alexander obviously had initial funds of cash and they got promotion, were very successful. I don't know if they're trying to tighten the belt a little bit, go for a little bit more youth. And that's right up Stephen's street, because we did that at Falkirk as well. We had 15, 16-year-olds in the team and a lot of success from it. And I'm just delighted to see the big man back involved. He was screaming up and down that line.
Yeah. He's quite a character. Thanks, chaps. That's brilliant. Next week, by the way, it reminds me, Brian Laws, who I spoke to earlier today, sends his regards.
Fantastic.
Sends his regards to you. Brian will be here, all being well, next week as one of our guests. We also have the manager of Sheffield FC's ladies team. Now, they are doing great things. They're in the Super League structure. I think they're in the second division of the women's, second tier of the women's Super League. So it's a chance to find out more about that. We possibly also have an ice hockey guest as well. So it's going to be a very, very busy studio next week. Thank you to you for your company. Always much appreciated. If you've just come in and you've missed this show, you've missed a treat, including how to pronounce the name of the head coach of Sheffield Wednesday. It's repeated at 11 p.m. tonight. It will also go on Vimeo in the next couple of days. See you next week. Bye.